From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
And good morning. Thanks for joining us on Montana This Morning on this March 17th, 2022, of course, St. Patrick's Day. We also want to welcome our viewers in Bozeman joining us this morning. We do begin with the war in Ukraine as civilians continue to be the target of Russian attacks. Another apartment building in Kyiv is hit and an airstrike destroys a theater in Mariupol. People were seeking shelter there, and on top of that, Ukraine says Russia shot and killed 10 people standing in line for bread. Today, we'll learn if the UN Security Council will discuss for meeting and talking about potential war crimes. Speaking to Congress, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky asked President Joe Biden for more support. He says a no-fly zone is needed to stop the destruction, but Biden so far is rejecting that idea, hoping to avoid direct confrontation with Russia. However, he announced an additional $800 million in aid and warcraft heading to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine and Russia say they're making progress in their peace talks, but Russia wants Ukraine to remain neutral and out of NATO. Russia's foreign minister says there's hope for reaching a compromise in negotiations. And we are checking in with our Miller Robson now because he has got a look at the weather for us.
And it's going to be a beautiful St. Patrick's Day. We got some really nice weather on the way today. Yeah.
Nice.
If you like sunshine and some mild temperatures, well, there you go. Tailor-made for you and mine. We are milder than normal yesterday as we crunch our numbers. You know I love to crunch numbers. Taking a look at the almanac. Yesterday our high got up to 52. 34 for the overnight low, so both above average. We did have a little bit of rain roll through yesterday, a little bit of snow, but nothing really to talk about, nothing to mention because it really didn't accumulate. But still for the month in terms of rain, we're slightly above where we should be. For the year, we're just over 1/10 of an inch ahead. Still, we're doing okay in snow, close to 2 inches on the plus side for the month. And since July 1st, we're just over 2 inches. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of moisture in the forecast for the next couple of days. Looks like we're going to have to wait until Sunday to see that kind of impact the area. 31 right now in Billings, feels like 22. Winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. Again, a shout out to our friends in Bozeman who are watching this morning. You're sitting at 30 right now. 28 in Missoula. We've got 30 in Havre. Miles City at 28, sitting at 31 in Sheridan. Lots of sunshine today, but does it last? I'll let you know with the main forecast coming up here in just a bit.
Lots of sunshine, so all your green will just look really good in the sunlight.
Yeah, glistening in the sun.
Glistening.
Maybe share us a little bit of pot of gold, too, if you find
There you go. Maybe you'll find that. All right.
Got a mortgage to pay, folks. Come on, bring it on.
Okay. Miller, thanks so much. Okay. We are following some big development news this morning. The Billings Costco, well, it is moving to the intersection of Shiloh and Zoo Drive. Q2's Alina Howder tells us why developers say this new spot will make the entire shopping experience better.
This lot at the intersection of Zoo Drive and Shiloh is empty now, but it will soon be the new home for Costco. The store is moving from its location on King Avenue. It's just one of a few businesses that are opening in this part of the city.
Parking problems, congestion, you name it. Most days in Billings, you won't find a busier place than Costco.
Especially if there's any kind of snow, like through the winter season, yeah, it gets kind of hectic. It's always busy, like always.
But there's hope. Costco may soon be a little less chaotic. Developers are hoping to move the warehouse store to the corner of Shiloh and Zoo Drive. Not only is the location moving, they're also expanding.
I'm excited for the expansion. I think Costco needs it, the area needs it.
The new store has plans for 852 parking spots, a big increase from the 592 shared spots at the current Costco. A 9-dispenser fuel facility will also be installed. Some are hesitant that expansion might mean rising costs.
Whenever you update, you have to adjust your costs for that, and I'm concerned that costs will go up.
Burl Sachs is from Cody, Wyoming. She routinely drives the 2 hours to Billings to stock up because groceries are so high in her tourist town.
It's amazing what the cost of food difference is.
As you can see from our Q2 drone, there isn't currently much in terms of retail in this part of town, but Costco isn't the only business moving in.
We're excited to hear that they might be our new neighbor.
Meadowlark Brewing is close to opening just down the road.
One of the reasons we were happy about finding this location out here on the west end is because we could see all the development moving this direction.
New businesses that will benefit from each other, each hoping this area is a key part of the city's retail expansion.
I think it's going to be very beneficial to us, and it'll be convenient for me as a family person. I'll just be able to run to Costco on the way home.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
And there's big money coming to Montana agriculture businesses in our state. Senator John Tester secured $8 million for 17 meat processing facilities, among other recipients. Q2's David J. shows us how that money will address a growing problem in the industry.
About 30 businesses received grants, many in the meat processing industry. Senator Tester sent out a list saying that it could have an effect on the consolidation issues in the meat packing industry. We talked with one Montana processor about how that might affect competition.
That's our fresh production room.
Ranch House Meats and Sausage processes beef from Pure Montana Meats, the company's slaughter plant in Miles City. Pure Montana Meats will receive a $200,000 grant.
It's a low margin business like most of agriculture, so any chance you have to be able to increase capacity and bring more opportunity to the state of Montana is a great opportunity.
Shane Flowers owns Project Meats, which runs Ranch House outside Shepparton and Billings, along with Pure Montana Meats in Miles City. He says it's good that the Montana Meat Processors Association lists more than 60 meat plants, and at least 3 new ones will be processing meat.
It makes the end consumer get the best value every day. I mean, competition is a great thing.
He says more smaller companies can affect competition in the meatpacking industry, and he also says what Senator Tester describes as consolidation in the packing industry has more of an effect on ranchers.
Only 4 big corporations making the money. It's not the farmers and ranchers.
They basically quit enforcing any of these monopoly laws.
Steve Charter and his daughter are ranchers north of Billings. In a story run last month, they talked about the low price they received for their cattle. According to the USDA, JBS, Cargill, National Beef, and Tyson control 85% of the industry.
It's literally the CEOs of these 4 companies could go out on a golf course and determine what they're going to pay for beef.
Also hampering many small processors' ability to compete right now is a shortage of labor.
If we don't have the labor, we can put all the square footage we want in the world, and it won't benefit us in the long run.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
There's new information this morning surrounding a $1 million levy for Billings Public Schools. That money would support after graduation career development to connect students with potential jobs. But there is a growing concern from voters that yearly levies like this are becoming a frequent ask, pushing those property taxes higher and higher. Well, Superintendent Greg Upham says he gets it.
Why don't you live within your means? This is within our means. This is how we're budgeted. This is what we're eligible for. I think the property tax fatigue is real. I'm a property owner. I get it. It's part of what we have to do. And you know, we're all fatigued with it. So we ask our legislators to take a look at this and see what type of tax structures are available, see what kind of changes can be made. But I agree. I think there's tax fatigue, especially on the property owner.
Well, the levy would raise property taxes about $14 on a home valued at $200,000. Upham says there will be no cuts made to any staff positions if it fails. A new ruling in our state could create a pathway for people with marijuana convictions to have them removed from their records. The Montana Supreme Court set up new petition rules. It means anyone who got busted for a pot-related crime, where it's now legal, can file for expungement. And the process should be a little bit easier, too. The Office of Court Administration is making those forms that you can fill out without the help of an attorney. This morning, we're taking a closer look at the new COVID-19 variant that's quickly spreading and causing cases to rise around the world. CBS's Riley Carlson has more.
Self-isolation, mass testing, and lockdowns. China is facing its worst outbreak since Wuhan 2 years ago, with more than 10,000 COVID cases reported this month. And it comes just as many countries are ditching restrictions.
We're ready to welcome the world back.
And now dealing with a new subvariant of the virus, BA2 is 30% more transmissible than Omicron, but it doesn't seem to be more severe. It could be why nearly half of European countries have seen cases rise. Almost 3 weeks after the UK dropped its last COVID rules, cases have spiked more than 50%, and hospitalizations are up too. Hospital workers in Ukraine find themselves on 2 front lines, fighting the virus in intensive care units as the war rages outside. With refugees flooding out in cramped spaces, concern about outbreaks is growing. Fewer than 35% of Ukrainians are fully vaccinated.
I don't want to say it's not as serious anymore. It's has been overpowered by war situation.
At the borders, there's no COVID testing. The virus has taken a back seat to survival. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
The BA2 variant now makes up a quarter of new infections among Americans, but daily cases and hospitalizations in the U.S. continue to drop. It is time. Round one of the NCAA tournament tips off in just a few hours, and these are new images this morning of the Bobcat men's basketball team landing in sunny San Diego. The team wasted no time getting to work, of course, holding that closed-door practice just last night, and the practices continue again this morning. MTN will be there with full coverage coming up tonight. The Bobcats play their first game tomorrow. It's at 11:30 on TNT. Good luck to them.